Hi everyone, so today I am here with the much anticipated full wedding planning video for you guys. I can guarantee this video is going to be pretty long because I have a lot of things that I want to talk about. And if you have any further questions, definitely ask them in my Ask Kirstens and I will answer those for you guys then, because I don't think I need another video unless there's like a ton of questions, but I think I should be able to cover it in this video because so much, I like literally wrote down so much that I want to talk about. So before I get started, I do want to quickly say that we did get married on October 10th of this year, and there is going to be a video because we did hire a videographer. However, it is not going to be for a few months. And I know a few people were like, what, a few months? But we were quoted for a few months, which I think is actually pretty good, considering a lot of wedding videos take up to a year. And then when we have that video, I'm just going to make sure with the company that it's okay if we have, or if we're able to upload that. I just want to make sure everything's like cool if I upload it, but I don't see them having any issues with it, so we'll definitely upload it then. But no, we did not vlog on our wedding day. I don't think I would have been able to. It was very hectic, very like, I felt I was so late, you guys. I was like rushing like crazy and I was nervous. I was so nervous. I was shaking the whole time. I just don't think a vlog would have happened. However, Brian and I have posted so many pictures on our individual Instagrams. I will link those down below. And I did Snapchat kind of like the beginning of the day, but like after that I just kind of like forgot about Snapchat. But I have been posting a lot of pictures and I plan to post more. Like, I don't think I'm gonna stop. So that's that for the videographer and for the video situation, so I hope to have that up soon. This video, I'm literally going to cover the entire planning process and any sort of like tips that I have, because I do feel like I have a few tips after going through the process personally. So I'm gonna get started. So I wrote everything down in the Erin Condren wedding planner. Like, I didn't even use this for wedding planning purposes. Like, I legit just made notes to tell you guys things, and I kind of stopped after a little bit because I felt like I just didn't have enough time, but I went through and wrote everything down. So basics, like I said, we got married on October 10th of this year. Yes, it was a Monday. We wanted to get married on that day because it was our 6-year anniversary. And we wanted to kind of continue with that day because we had been together for so long that we kind of wanted to keep the date and not change it completely. Our theme was sort of like a rusticy, boho, outdoorsy, Texas, I kind of want to say, theme. It was very like rustic and lace and flowers and burgundies and ivories and grays. That was our theme, and we really like thankfully stuck to it the whole time, which was nice and very helpful. So I'm just going to go in the order that I did everything because I feel like I kind of had a good order of how I did things. Some things could be switched around, but I feel like I did a pretty good job. So the first thing that we actually did, once we sat down and decided, you know what, we're going to get married this year, we're going to get married on this date, and we figured everything out, I ordered save the dates. And I ordered our save the dates. I should have brought them. I brought like everything, but I forgot to bring those. But I do have pictures of both the save the dates and our invitations on my Instagram. If you just scroll a little bit, you can see those. So I ordered our save the dates. I ordered them off of Minted, which is one of my favorite sort of like card services. We ordered Avery's first birthday cards off there, and I really love Minted. It's so simple, very easy to personalize, and I just love it so much. So we ordered our save the dates off of there. I got the magnet because I thought that was kind of ingenious, because people could put the magnet on their fridge and see it every day and kind of remember, like, I need to save the date for October 10th. So I thought that was kind of smart. Also, a side note that I really like about Minted is if you pick out, for instance, we picked out our save the dates in a certain style, they also have like websites, invitations, place cards, table numbers, everything in that specific style, so you never have to kind of vary. You can keep everything very uniform, which I really appreciated. So I ordered everything with the handwritten heart, I believe is the style. I ordered everything off of that style. So that was the first thing that I did. The second thing, oh, and we sent those 6 months prior to our wedding. We sent those, what, 6 months is, I don't know, April. We sent those in April for the wedding. Okay, so the next two things that I did. You could totally switch out. I actually feel like you probably should switch, but the first thing that I did is what I think you should do third, but that's just me, and that is get the dress. We actually made a dress appointment pretty early on. I feel it was like the first thing I ever did other than ordered save the dates, was go get my dress. And I went to Signature Bridal Salon, which is in Bee Cave, which is like 30 minutes away from Austin, or like 20 minutes depending on where you're coming from. But I really liked it. I had a really good experience there. I feel like they treat their brides really, really well. So I went with Andrea and Avery, of course, and we were there probably like an hour to like an hour and a half. It wasn't that long, I feel, for a bridal appointment in my opinion. I tried on like 8 dresses, and I picked like 8, not 8 very different, but I picked like a good variation I had, and I have like a whole trying on dress video for the vlog, which I can put. I didn't try on my dress or in that vlog, but I did show a bunch of the other ones, and like you guys can see, I tried on a bunch of like random ones, like very like frou-frou, puffy ball gowns, some that looked like fairy princess dresses. Like they were very, very pretty, but I kind of went in kind of already knowing what style dress I would like and what I felt was going to be good and like appropriate for my body type. So I tried on a couple of dresses that I thought were really, really pretty, a bunch of like really pretty lace dresses, which is what I like. I like lace and I like fitted dresses, so I had a fit and flare lace dress. So I tried on the first one and I really liked it, but it was missing sort of like an aspect that I really liked. So I tried on the second one that had that aspect, but it was missing sort of the same aspect in the first dress I liked. So I was kind of like, well, like I don't want to get either of these and be kind of undecided about both of them, because they're missing something that I felt like I needed. So we sat there for a little and I was just like trying on one, whatever, just like being silly, and my consultant came over with a dress that had pretty much everything I was looking for in one dress, and I tried it on and I was instantly in love. It fit really, really well. It looked really nice. It was a very like fitted fit and flare lace dress with a really beautiful train, and it had little sleeves that kind of fell off my shoulders a little bit. I was gonna, well, I'll explain a little later. I was gonna tape them on with a double-sided tape so they would stick to like right here, and you can see those in the pictures, and I loved it. It had kind of a deeper V, which I was a little unsure about, but I knew I could figure it out. So that ended up being the dress. I really, really liked it. I did also get a very like shimmery, glittery, beautiful beaded belt to go with it, because I felt like the dress, you know, my dress didn't have any like sort of pizzazz, shiny speckles to it, and I wanted just a little hint of glitter, so I got a belt to sort of go with it. So I got that right away. I mean, it was probably the last dress I tried on. It was like my 8th dress, and I felt like it was good that I found it right away, and I was very, very, very happy with it. So I loved my dress. And then the third thing I did, which I think you should do second, but this was just how I did things, was look at venues, and we actually only looked at one venue in person. I looked at a bunch online, and we were gonna tour a couple, but we went to the first venue, which is the venue we ended up choosing, which was the Allen House, and it is in downtown Austin. It's on San Antonio Street, and it's like a couple of blocks from the state capitol, but it's like in the heart of downtown Austin, and I loved it. It was so, so beautiful. We went there, and what I liked about it is it's a house. It's called the Allen House. It's a house, and you could get married inside the house. It has the bride and groom suites in there. It had a couple of open rooms. There was 3 stories, some porches that were like perfect for pictures, but they had this beautiful outdoor area with like stone steps and this huge tree that had like a branch that like came in, and everything was wrapped in like lights, and it was so beautiful, and I just loved the tree. The tree I think really sold it for me, because it was so like just everything I wanted, and the lights, it was just so, so pretty, and I really loved it. So I was just like, you know what, this is it. That's kind of how Brian and I's life really is, like with apartments, with wedding venues. We go there, we see the first thing, and we're like, you know what, I love it, we're done, because it was perfect. It really was. It was really perfect for us. So We signed the contract right away. We booked it for an extra hour, and we had to pay like half of the price up front, which was wild. Not wild, but it was just kind of expensive a little bit. Weddings are expensive. Oh, also I'll talk about budget in a second. But something I really loved about the venue, and something I really loved about the fact that we were getting married on a Monday, is that a lot of things were a little bit less expensive. So if you are looking to save a little bit of money and you don't care what day you get married on, I suggest getting married on a weekday, because it was half. We paid 50% of the venue versus getting married on a weekend, and I was just like not mad at all. Like, it was kind of a blessing in disguise, because it was a lot cheaper and it was nice. So that's that. But going back to the budget, we had a budget that I thought was good for us. I thought it was gonna be like okay for us, but we did go over quite a bit of the budget, and yeah, we went over a lot of the budget. But yeah, so that was the budget talk. The fourth thing we did was actually go get our wedding bands. I don't know, we were just in the mall one day and we were like, you know what, let's just go to Kay's and get our wedding bands. That's where Brian got my engagement ring. So we wanted to just go ahead and get that out of the way. I got a band that actually goes with, I think it came as like a set with my engagement ring, or it matched it perfectly. It's just like, you know how my ring has this big part right here and then the sides have like the little diamonds? This is just diamonds all around. So mine was really easy to pick out. I was just like, I want the one that matches mine the most. And then Brian's, he took a little bit of time, and he's still kind of like, he loves his ring, but he also kind of wants like a second ring, which I know sounds so silly, but like I don't care, like he can have whatever he wants. But he walked out with his, actually. He picked out this, like, I don't even know, it's just like a black band. I don't know how to explain it. But it's a nice ring. I don't know, it was just a men's ring. I don't know, I have a very like weird perception of like men's rings. I'm just like, dope, a band. But like women's rings, I'm like, beautiful, so beautiful. But yeah, he got to walk out with his because they actually had his in his size, and I ordered mine. So that's how that happened. The fifth thing that we did was actually contact our photographer slash videographer, and we found one through Andrea. Andrea got married in February, and her photographer and videographer, they have like a group. They're called 63 Films. I'll try and link everything down below. We actually, like, at their wedding, like, became like really good friends with most of them. Like, we talked with most of them pretty much the entire time. So when it came time for us to book our photographer and videographer, it kind of was like a no-brainer to me. I loved their pictures, I loved the video, I loved what they did, and they're like really top rated, I think, on the Knot. So I instantly like texted the guy and was like, yo, like, will you be our photographer slash videographer? And he said, of course. So we booked them, and when booking our photographer and videographer, this was my mindset. I will pay, like, there's always like a couple of things I feel like people will pay more for their wedding. Like, may it be the dress, may it be your venue, may it be flowers. For us, it was definitely photographer and videographer, because we really wanted good pictures, and I feel like it shows. Like, if you look at our Instagram, those are just like a couple of those were from our photographer. Like, most of them were ones that Andrea just took like on the side, but a couple of those were from our photographer. But like, when you see those pictures, you guys are going to die. They are so beautiful. Like, they do such a fantastic job, and the photographer was literally what I was willing to spend the most on, and it was what I ended up spending the most on. So I basically booked one photographer, one videographer, and another photographer ended up coming, which was fine with me. So I booked them, and I was so happy. They're so good. They're so good. And it's so funny. The videographer is this guy named Avery, and it's so funny because when he came to our wedding, at Andrea and Nick's wedding, we always would say Big Avery and Little Avery because we have our Avery, and like we thought they had like a special bond. It was really cute. But then when they came to our wedding, he was like, Avery, and Avery was like, it was so cute. So the whole time at our wedding, I was like, where's Big Avery? Where's Little Avery? I don't know. I just thought that was adorable. But yeah, I was really happy with that. That was like one of my favorite parts of planning the wedding. The sixth thing that we did was actually contact a DJ. I feel like with everything else, I was sort of like very, like, I picked the person, I found them instantly. With the DJ, I emailed a few. I kind of wanted to get some good price ranges because I didn't realize that like DJs were kind of expensive. Like, that may sound ignorant, but like I didn't realize they were so pricey. So I did email a few DJs, and the DJ that we ended up going with was Hill Country DJ, which is like a smaller version of like Austin DJ or something like that. I emailed that Austin, I don't know the name, I'm sorry, DJ, and they recommended them. So we ended up going with that DJ. They were really helpful. The thing I really liked about our DJ, and we had DJ Mitch, he was really nice. The thing I really like about their website is that you have like sort of a login, and they have like a whole like online library of like songs, and they have like stuff like set up for you already, like first dance song, entrance song, song you're walking down the aisle to, introductions, things like that. And I really liked that. It was very easy for me to fill that in. However, it wasn't easy for me to find a lot of songs. Like, I felt like I had so many songs I wanted. I feel like the hardest part of the wedding for me was picking the songs. Like, I feel like that was what I waited and I procrastinated the most on, was picking the songs. So I give like major props to people that like sit there and like come up with songs for their weddings, because it took me so long to come up with like our introduction song, the song I wanted to walk down the aisle to, the song I wanted Avery to go down the aisle to. Our first dance didn't take too long. There was like a few songs, that's like a whole story. Brian and I went back and forth about the first dance song for forever, and then finally found our first dance song. We listened, okay, I'm just gonna tell you the story. Excuse me. One of our favorite Pandora stations that we listen to on the car like every single day is the 90s alternative station. That's like one of our favorites. We listen to it all the time. And so we were just like, we had been arguing, not arguing, but like bickering about what song we wanted, going back and forth for a while, like 2-3 months. And we were finally just listening to this song on the radio, on the Pandora station, and we were just like, I think this could be like our first dance song. Like, that's how we felt, because we don't have a song. Like, we've never had like a song together. So our first dance ended up being How We Days Collide, and I love that song. So we were very happy about that. It was gonna be, what was it, Vertical Horizons, Everything You Want, because that's like another good 90s alternative song, but How We Days Collide is like gorgeous. So that's the DJ. The seventh thing we did was the actual invitations / setting up the website. Again, that was all through Minted. I just went to the handwritten heart section again and got our invitations, and through that I set up our wedding website, which I really liked, and it had like a password and everything, and I sent that with like the RSVP card with the invitation. So the RSVP was through the website, which I loved. It was so helpful, and it was really customizable too, which I really preferred. Like, it gave the guests directions and all sorts of things, since the majority of our guests were coming from out of town, so it's just really nice. The eighth thing that I did was hire our officiant. Again, piggybacking off of Andrea and Nick's wedding, I had no clue how to find an officiant. I don't know, I had never planned a wedding before. I didn't know what I was doing, so I was just like, yo, give me your officiant's email. So I basically just hired the exact same officiant. Her name was Sarah, and she was super easy to work with. She had like a list of things, like a greeting, a body, like it sounds like I'm writing a paper, a greeting, a body, an ending, our vows. She had various different sections that you could kind of pick and pull from and kind of add your own in and be very kind of customizable, and she really wanted to get to know us as a couple, so she could kind of make it customizable to us and personable. So that was really nice, and she did such a nice job at our wedding as well. So she was really good, really fast, and I really enjoyed her style. She was super fast. I think our ceremony was like 15-20 minutes. It was good. I didn't want it to be too long because I was up there like tearing up the whole time. The ninth thing I did is actually catering. Catering, again, was something a little bit harder for me. I went through a few catering companies, especially with price points. A lot of catering companies, especially in Austin, are a little bit pricier than I wanted to spend, but we ended up going with a place called Rosemary's Catering, and they were so phenomenal. Like, I have never been like so happy with like a vendor. I feel like they were probably my favorite vendor that we ever had at our wedding, my ever wedding. They had a lot of different menus, a lot of different styles. We went with a buffet style. I felt like that was just like the most appropriate for us, and it was just a little bit easier for everyone to kind of get what they wanted, and we chose the Italian buffet. I couldn't tell you what was on it, but it was delicious. Probably the best wedding food I have ever had. There was like a chicken and a pasta and a Caesar salad and I mean, it was just so good. Like the food, the chicken, I'm like really mad at myself because I had like 3 bites of the chicken because I was so like, you know, my stomach hurt and I could barely sit in my dress. So I had like 3 bites of the chicken, and I'm kind of mad that I didn't eat more because it was just like phenomenal, like the best chicken I feel like I've ever had. They also offered bar services for us, which we brought our own beer and liquor, but that was fine. They had a bar service set up. They were so helpful. Everything was so nice, and our event coordinator, his name was Jay, was so good to us. Like, he was so good. He kept coming over to me throughout the entire night, making sure I was okay, making sure if I needed anything, if anybody needed anything. He was so helpful. Like, I cannot express to you enough how happy I was with the catering service. With our catering service, we had the buffet style, and then we ended up having like a midnight snack, which wasn't really a midnight snack. It was at like 8 o'clock, and we had donuts and milk, and I thought that was like amazing. Like, good touch catering. Like, I was so pumped about it. The donuts were really good, and I just thought they were just super nice. They were all very helpful. And we also had cocktail hour. I keep forgetting that because I wasn't really there for that, but the food for that was good too. They saved us some stuff. So that was catering. And then the last thing I wrote down, but then I also wrote down more, the 10th thing that we did was hire our floral people. For them, we hired Wild Bunches Floral, whom I also thought was really, really helpful, really nice. I actually never, ever sat down and met with any of them. I couldn't tell you what any of them look like, but I talked with them over the phone on multiple occasions. Their office is like 45 minutes to an hour away from us, depending on traffic, so I was never able to make it there because there was just no way. But they were super helpful. We always talked on the phone. I feel like I talked to them like 5 or 6 times, and we went over everything. They were so like super happy with us and like how helpful we were, I guess, in explaining things, because I kind of had an idea of what I wanted. And floral was a lot cheaper than I expected. Flowers, especially wedding flowers, can be not that they're different than regular flowers, but like especially buying flowers for a wedding, it can get so expensive. But we were pretty frugal in the floral section. I think the only things we had were like pieces of our arch, which you can kind of see in one of our pictures. So we had an arch with flowers on it. I had my bouquet. I had a toss bouquet, Brian's boutonniere. I had 2 flower crowns, one for me and one for Avery. Avery didn't even wear her flower crown, which I kind of expected. And I think that might have been all the floral stuff. Yeah, we didn't have like anything. And that makes me kind of happy because it was a lot cheaper than I had expected it to be, which is good. Moving on, so I wrote down pretty much everything else. After that, I got Avery's dress, which I actually have to show you guys. I ordered her dress off of Etsy. This was her first dress. If she were to spill on this, I also had a Target dress that she could wear as well. I had a backup just in case, but this was her dress that I ordered off of Etsy. It kind of matched mine in the sense that it was so, like really lacy and beautiful, and just, oh, she looked so darling in it, so darling in it. So I ordered her dress off of Etsy. I also got her shoes. They were just the Birch freshly picked moccasins. I figured she could wear them to the wedding, and then she always wears mocks anyway, so she wears them now. They're pretty messy. We also got Brian's tux at Men's Warehouse. I feel like tuxes are just so like blah. They only had like 4 options. He went with the gray with like the burgundy bow tie and the burgundy pocket square. And then his shoes were just some Clarks, which he loves Clarks, so we just got some nice brown ones that matched his suit, and went with that. Oh, rentals. So we also did rentals. I didn't even know rentals were a thing either. Like, this is why wedding planning, when you're like not even like, you don't know anything about wedding planning, is kind of tough. So for the rentals, we went with Mancino Iron Rentals. The guy, Alan, that works there was so nice and so helpful. If you live in Austin and you need rentals and you want like really pretty iron rentals, he was amazing. We got 2 things. We got an arch, which was like a 3-piece arch. So it went like this, and then it had like a top like this. It was just like a basic square kind of, and then our flowers went like around it. It was really beautiful. And then we got a huge chandelier, which when I was looking at the chandelier when we had our appointment with him, I didn't feel like it was that large because it was hanging up, but when we brought it to the venue. Nick, Andrea's husband, was at the venue, like making sure everything was okay while all the girls were getting ready, and he was like FaceTiming me, and he was like, yeah, this is kind of large, and I was like, oh my god, like it was like touching the ground when it was hanging on the tree. We actually ended up making it work. We hung it a little higher on the branch, and it kind of like barely grazed the table, but it was beautiful. It looked so beautiful. So those were the only 2 rental things that we got, so rentals were very inexpensive as well for us. The cake, I can't even forget about the cake. The cake was so good. So we got the cake from Sweet Treats Bakery, which is off of 290 in like downtown Austin, kind of like South Austin. It was one of the ones that was recommended through our venue, so I really wanted to try it. I love all things like sweets, so I was like really pumped for the cake tasting test. I was like real ready. So we had the taste test, and that was amazing. That's all I can say about that. But we went with a 2-tiered cake because we didn't have that many guests. We wanted it to be kind of smaller, and I went with sort of like an ombre. I don't think I posted a picture of our cake yet. I might have to do that soon. But we went with like an ombre cake, so the top was like white, and it went down to like a burgundy ombre, and it was really cool looking. I remember I was in like the bridal suite for a while, kind of getting my dress all situated, and people were running around like crazy. I was like giving commands like a wild woman, and I remember someone came in, I think it was like not Avery, it was like Andrea or Jessica, and I was like, have you seen the cake? It's the cake here. And they were like, yeah, Kirsten, it's beautiful. And I was like, thanks, picked it out myself. But it was really cool, and we did a 2-tier like I said. So the bottom tier Brian picked, and it was the wedding white, which was just white cake with like a white frosting, and then the top I picked, and it's the top tier because I didn't think a lot of people would like it, but I loved it, and it was like a dark chocolate with salted caramel frosting. It was so good. It was like the best thing I've ever had. It was delicious. So that was the cake, and then I think the last few things I have, did I write down? I did. Okay, so the last few things is hair and makeup. I did my own makeup. Oh my god, the makeup. You would think, as someone who kind of like enjoys beauty a little bit, I would have had like a better plan for my makeup, but I don't even. I don't even know. So I practiced doing 2 different makeup looks once. So I did one look once, and I did another look another time, and I was like, I don't know. And then I just never practiced again, and then the day of my wedding I was just like, shit. I have not done my makeup. So I just kind of winged it. I did what I'm used to kind of doing with like a Naked 2 palette. I might do a tutorial if you guys would be interested in that, but I really did just wing it. And I actually, speak of it, I brought 2 lip colors with me to do. I brought ColourPop Midi, which is like a nude, and then I brought Dose of Color Stone in case I wanted like kind of a pinker color. And I ended up just not wearing liquid lipstick at all. I just wore chapstick, and I totally forgot about it, but whatever. And then my hair, actually my friend Tara did for me. She curled it, and then she did 2 waterfall braids along the side, and they were super pretty, but they did get covered up by the flower crown. I had anticipated to take off the flower crown after the ceremony, but I just never did because it was so comfortable in my hair. So that was hair and makeup. Other things quickly, I did purchase a lot of stuff off of Etsy. Etsy's like bomb for wedding stuff, and a lot of things you can also DIY too. So stuff that we DIY'd, Andrea actually did most of the DIYs. She made the centerpiece. She made the centerpieces, which I do not have, but they were gorgeous. They were like little like nests almost, with like a mason jar and like flowers. Very pretty. She also made a bunch of signs that said like sign the guest book and Krasinski 2016 and all sorts of cute stuff like this. And she also made this, which Brian and I are in love with, and we actually have to hide it in the closet because Avery just rips it apart. But it's this huge frame with like Polaroids of all of our pictures. Isn't that awesome? So this was really cool. It was back behind the cake, and I just thought it was really cool. People could go and look at it, and it was just, I don't know, it was very sweet, and I just really loved it. So thank you, Andrea, for making that. But then purchases. So hold on. Quite a few Etsy purchases. I'm not sure if this is everything, but I'll do what I can. So the first is actually the cake topper, which is still kind of dirty. This is a burgundy cake topper. Again, I'll try and link everything down below. And this says, "It was always you." I thought this was cute. Let me put it right here so you guys can kind of see it better. So cute. Again, I ordered that off of Etsy. I also ordered my garter off of Amazon. It was like $6. I could have cared less about my garter. That was like one of the things that I was just like meh about. It was like a burgundy garter. Don't know where it is. It's somewhere off. It's probably in the garage. I don't know where it is. I ordered sparklers off another website. I don't know what the website was called. I went to like 3 different ones and they were all like expensive. Like the shipping was just ridiculous, and I was like, I'm not spending this much for shipping for sparklers. But I did end up finding a decent website, and I also got sparkler toppers, which again, I don't know where I got those, but I will link them down below. And it just said Kirsten and Brian, October 10th, 2016, let your love sparkle or something like that. I'm not sure, but those were cute. We also got Avery's little sign, which this was like the first thing I ever pinned on Pinterest for the wedding board. I had like a secret wedding board, and this was like the first thing I ever pinned because I knew she needed this sign. Like, how cute is this? How sweet is this? So sweet. I feel like I could make this, but it's like, it's just so cute. It says, Daddy, here comes Mommy. So this was like the first thing I needed for the wedding. Like, I needed that. I also got our guest book off of Etsy. I was going to get a guest like canvas because I really liked them, but I felt like with the amount of guests that we had, the majority of like the little things on the canvas would be empty, so I just went with a book. This is just a black book with gold writing. It says Kirsten and Brian guest book, October 10th, 2016. And then what else did I have? Oh, I got this hanger, which I loved. I don't know how well you guys are gonna be able to see, but it says October 10th, or October 10th, 2016, Mrs. Krasinski, and the eyes are little hearts. That's so cute. I got that off of Etsy as well. I need to put that somewhere so I don't lose that. And then, the koozies. Jesus. So I also ordered favors for our guests. Sorry, the people that live below us are doing their garage right now. And I went with like koozies. I don't know why. I couldn't think of anything that I wanted to do as guest like favors. Like, I had no clue. I was gonna do like the little s'mores things, but I was like, I don't know. So I got little like burgundy koozies. You could get whatever color you wanted. Most of our guests like drink beer, so I was like, yeah, this works. It says Fall in Love 10/10/2016, and the back says Kirsten and Brian. And I have a ton of these left over, and I love these. They're so precious. This one actually Avery was playing with, so there you go. So I think that's all like the last minute things. Other things I wrote down were just the marriage license and social security things, which are kind of like the legal parts of getting married. So for our marriage license, we went like a month or a few weeks before the wedding. I think in the state of Texas, you can go up to 90 days before the wedding. So we went like a month before. And in Texas, it's $80 for a marriage license. I was telling that to one of our guests, and she was like looking up the price in her state, and she was like, damn, like that is expensive in Texas. Yeah, it's $80 for a marriage license in Texas. But we went to the county clerk's office, and it was so fast. It took 5 minutes to get a marriage license. It was actually terrifying how quick that was. And then we went back the next day after the wedding to turn it in and get like our official marriage license, because the officiant signs the thing they give you, and then you take it back to get your official marriage license. And that again took 5 seconds. It was wild. So we were officially married. And then we actually today, the day I'm filming this, went to the social security office, and the line was kind of long, but because what I had was so specific, name change because of marriage, we were in and out in like 20 minutes. And again, that took 5 minutes to get my name changed, so I'm officially a Krasinski. So again, that was like sort of the legal parts. And then I had some advice, I guess, or important tidbits as I wrote down. So the first thing that I wrote down was kind of important because for me especially, is to sort of be stern with your guests about things. We had a few guests that were like up in the air about whether or not they were coming, and I really needed the numbers for catering and for the venue, and it was like kind of like really important because I needed a certain number for catering, because if they said they were coming and I told catering, I would have had to pay for them, but then if they ended up not coming, I still would have had to pay for them. So I was kind of like, yo, like, let's be serious here. So I definitely say be stern with your guests. Yeah, I feel like, oh my god, so many of our guests were like, yeah, I might come, and I was just like, no, I need to know. So that was just me that was like my biggest stressor. I was very stressed out because of that. Also, this is kind of weird, but things will go wrong. And don't stress about it. Really don't stress about it, because not a lot went wrong. I was actually expecting a lot to go wrong, but it was all a bunch of little stuff. Nothing crazy. The lipstick, I didn't wear lipstick. I guess that could be considered going wrong. A couple of the buttons on the back of my dress ended up breaking. Didn't care. My dress still fit perfectly fine. Oh, there was no bouquet or garter toss. We actually planned on having that. And it just never happened. Like, the time just went right past us, and I was like, oh, we were supposed to do that, and we just never did. And I'm not mad about it. I was just another bouquet for me. Oh, Avery didn't wear her flower crown, but I kind of expected that. And I was also kind of late. Our ceremony ran like 30 minutes late. So the way we did it was we went to the venue, and then we immediately did first looks, which took like 15 minutes, and then we did our ceremony. But because I was running so late, because I was having like malfunctions with my dress, I told you guys about the deep V, I couldn't get it like closed, everything was kind of popping out, and I was like, come on, come on, come on. That was an issue. The straps kept falling, which was like bothering me, but I was like, whatever, whatever. So it took me a little bit to get ready, which is why we ran a bit late, but no worries. Like, literally, things will go wrong, things will go out of your control, but nothing major should go wrong, especially with vendors, because you've booked them. Just little things. I just brushed them off because at that point I just didn't care. We had finally gotten to the wedding. I was just ready to do it and get married, so that's what happened there. Other advice: you're gonna be nervous. I was so nervous. I mean, I know some brides aren't, but I was very, like, my stomach hurt. I was shaking. Like, my hands before first looks, I was like this, because I hadn't seen Brian in like 15 hours, and I was just like shaking because we spent the night apart. You know, he had his like bachelor thing, and I did my bachelorette party, and it was really fun, but like I was just so nervous to see him. And I don't know if I'll post one of the first looks pictures, just because it's like an iPhone picture. I really want like the actual photographer's first looks picture, because oh my god, like, if you guys see it in the video, you're gonna cry, because like it was the saddest first look ever, because Brian, like, before he even turned around to look at me, was already crying, and I'm like crying right now thinking about it. And so when he turned around and I saw like a little tear, like I just started bawling. Like, I was just crying, because it was just like, it was such a happy moment, and it was just like, we cried so much. We cried during first looks, we cried together during the ceremony, we cried together during the first dance. Like, we cried the whole time together. Like, we were just emotional wrecks. It's just what happens when you've been together so long and you're just like really excited. So you're gonna be nervous, but I was just super nervous because I hadn't seen Brian, and I didn't want anything like major to go wrong. I didn't want to trip going up the aisle, which, by the way, I walked up the aisle by myself, which was my choice. I just wanted to go by myself, and I was nervous, and I like felt like I was gonna trip. And I know you're supposed to go like as a bride kind of slow, and I had to like kind of catch myself every once in a while, because like I wore Vans, like white lace Vans. They're so pretty, but I kept like catching myself on my dress, so when I was walking I had to kind of like jolt, and I felt like everyone noticed, but like no one noticed. But I was just like, oh my god, you're gonna be nervous. Another thing, don't worry about crying. I already talked about crying. I cried the whole time. I sobbed. I just wore waterproof mascara and I was fine. Another thing, I highly suggest first looks. I know I talked about first looks, but again, I highly suggest it, because I was originally not going to do first looks, and I was going to let Brian see me for the first time coming down the aisle, and I feel like if that would have happened, we both would have ended up sobbing so hard. So I'm happy we did first looks, because it was like intimate and quiet, and there was just us, our photographer, our videographer, and Andrea, because she was there to help me with my dress and take a few other pictures. And I needed that, because if I had not have had that first time with him, I feel like we would have been sobbing the entire time, and I didn't want that. And the last sort of piece of advice that I have before I tell you guys, I feel like, anything else about the day is, if you can afford it, or if you have someone that will do it, hire a day of coordinator, or have a friend be your coordinator for the day, because I had Andrea sort of do it, and it was probably the most helpful thing in the entire entire planet because I needed someone to sort of just help me the whole day, kind of not necessarily just get through the day, but help make sure things were going smoothly. She was literally there to like usher people around, get us where we needed to be. She was so helpful. Like, we needed that so bad. So if you have someone that's willing to help you, or if you can afford to hire a day of coordinator, I looked at some of the prices and I was like, no, do it, because it's so helpful. Like, it's literally the most helpful thing on the planet. So that was all of my sort of planning and tips and tricks situation. The way the wedding went was really good. It was really good. We got to our venue. I got there 15 minutes before Brian, which was pretty nice because I got ready at the hotel and then just put my dress on at the venue. So when I got there, I was 15 minutes early. I got my dress on, I got everything on. He got there after me. We had 2 separate suites, so we were in 2 different suites, and he got ready too. I think he just put his tux on me because he didn't really have to like get ready or anything. And then we did our first looks, and then we had the ceremony. And you know what really bothers me about the ceremony is the fact that I couldn't see Avery go down the aisle. I really wanted to see her go down the aisle. Everyone told me that it was really emotional and that Brian was really like emotional about it. I was kind of emotional too. I heard the song from around the corner and I was like, because like, oh, so sweet, sweet little baby girl. So that's one thing I really wish I would have gotten to see, but obviously I couldn't. Ceremony was great. Like I said, it went really, really fast. After the ceremony, we had our cocktail hour. However, during that hour, Brian and I went with our photographer to go take pictures for that hour, and that was awesome. We went kind of like around the block. That's also something I recommend. Wear your dress somewhere other than your venue. Go take pictures like in public or something, because it felt so dope to be in downtown Austin wearing like a wedding dress. People were like honking and saying congratulations, and it was cool. It was a good feeling. It was really cool. So we did that. We went to like a bunch of different little spots around the venue, which was cool. Those pictures turned out so good. We came back right as cocktail hour was finishing up, and we did our introductions, which was awesome, and our first dance. And then we had dinner, which was, like I said before, amazing. One of the best dinners I've ever had. And then we got the party started. We started dancing. We talked to everybody because there was people there that we hadn't seen in a very long time. So we talked to everybody, hung out. You know, like I said, our families were there, so we were chatting with our families. And what else? I don't even remember. That whole like 3-4 hours went by so fast. We did the cake cutting, and literally like after the cake cutting it sort of died down a bit, which was fine because I think we had like an hour left, and then we did our send-off with the sparklers. So a lot of fun, really great experience. I don't want to do it again, obviously. I don't want to get married again, but I do want to renew my vows eventually, probably in like 10 years. I almost said 10 days, like 10 years or so. But oh my god, weddings are so fun, especially your own wedding. Like, such a good time. Such a good experience. If you guys would like to see me be a husband tag, anything like that, let me know. But I know I am just as excited as you guys are to see the wedding video. I know it's going to be so good. I know it's going to be so good. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if it was super long, but I really wanted to get everything out there for you guys. And like I said, I will link as much as I possibly can down below. Like, I'll link our venue, I'll link everything if you guys want to see everything. I don't care. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe to me if you're not already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.